Hello and welcome to the Overly Animated Podcast, where we take animation seriously. I'm Beatriz Mourad, and today I'm joined by Michelle Anderer.
Hello.
And April Collins.
Hi there.
Today we will be discussing the 12th episode of Fruits Basket, You Look Like You're Having Fun. Warning, spoilers for everything that has aired up to this point. Some of us have read the manga, some of us have seen the early 2000s version of the anime, but we won't be spoiling anything beyond episode 12. You can find out more about this podcast at overlyanimated.com. You can subscribe to us on iTunes at overlyanimated.com/iTunes. You can find us on Spotify or on YouTube at youtube.com/overlyanimated. All right, girls, tell me, what were your general thoughts about this episode? We're gonna get into a good chunk, so if you want to keep it brief, vague, whatever, just what did you feel walking out of this episode, April?
So I had this very big moment of did this episode happen? Because I watched it the first, I had to watch it again because I watched it the first time and I was like, what? And because there was just so much thrown at me. And then after I watched, I had to on my lunch break, I was like, I have to watch this episode, guys, leave me alone. And then even then I came out of it and I was like, what? Because so much happened. There was a lot, and there was a lot of stuff that is very, very interesting, but there's a lot of stuff that I just had issues with. So it was a lot. And I'm hoping I'll come out of this conversation deciding whether or not I truly liked it. There were some really good moments, but then there's a lot of really, really bad moments. Yeah. So those are my general thoughts.
I feel that. What about you, Michelle?
What was this episode? It's I almost feel like this was a turning point in the manga or something, because it's just the first half is so just not good. I mean, there are good jokes, but then there's a lot of bad stuff. And then the second half's crazy. And I don't want to get into spoilers, but I remember saying in the last episode, is some lady's voice gonna help another Zodiac? But no, not at all. No. Toto's the one who needs help. She needs more safety than ever after that. But oh my god, I don't know how to feel about this episode either. My only takeaway is Akito's really hot, and I'm really upset about it. He's so hot. I don't remember this, but he's really hot, and it's crazy. Everything's crazy.
He is a Soma. He's what? The one ugly duckling of the Somas? No, of course he was going to be hot, but
he's way hotter than most. He's as hot as Yuki in his own evil way, and I'm very uncomfortable with how attractive he is based on everything up to this point. So I don't know how to feel about the episode either, April. I don't know if I can convince you it was good. I don't know how to feel myself.
I think, okay, besides a few couple things that are annoying, but we've already talked about in the podcast, I think it was a really solid episode. I think it was a good episode in terms of the way it was presented and the way it was executed. But this show, I don't know what it is about it. Maybe it's us. Maybe it's just that we have some sort of masochistic energy or something. But it just is we're gonna give you one lighthearted episode. It's gonna be nice. You're gonna feel safe. And then bam, we're back to this darkness and pain. And it's, but at the same time, I love it. So I don't know what that says about me. But yeah, there was, well, I'm just gonna just very briefly just say some few lighthearted things before we get to the heavy thing. Headcanon, Uo-chan and Kyo ditch school events together. They always fight, but I'm I like a nice little headcanon where they're they actually are the bad boy and the bad girl where they'll just ditch class and they both have their hair dyed while Kyo doesn't, but no one believes him. So I like that kind of friendship that's developing. Also, all right, question is, was Uo-chan a drug addict when she was like, what, 12? Like, or was it that she was sick? Because
I think she might have been sick a lot, and her immunity is just stronger now.
Because that's what I assumed. But, you know, the way that she says it, it's like, oh, let's play into the stereotype of, oh, she's like a gangster, so she does drugs. Well, but the thing is, it's interesting because, like, you know, here we have, like, medicine and drugs. They have different connotations, whereas, like, in Japanese, like, kusuri means medicine and drugs, so.
Oh, no. Well, then how do you tell?
So you can't tell. So that's why I was like, this is ambiguous. This is intentionally ambiguous, and I just... Uo-chan, I want to know about your childhood. I want to know more about you. Like, you can't just throw that out there. You need to tell me more. Cool. She's so great. And also, like, poor Yuki. Like, these girls are about to, like, hound down. Like,
that other boy was, like, not gonna help her. I'm like, dude, you have a clipboard. Obviously, you're part of the student council, too. Isn't that your job? Like
how are you not equipped to help this person?
Yeah, right. Yeah, that was something. But okay, that's as far as, I guess, lighthearted stuff, I guess we're gonna get into. Because, I mean, let's just start with the first half of this episode, which starts out already a little foreboding because we see the black car. And we're like, who's in the car? Who's in the car? Yes. Which, by the way, I had no idea who was in the car.
I thought it was him. Oh, really? Because the black outfit? I thought Haru was going to have a black outfit for some reason.
Well, I knew he had a driver, and so, like, and it's, like, it's just, like, straight, I guess not strange, but, like, it all just kind of, like, clicked in my head, because I was like, who is this person just showing up in this car with a driver? And then, like, I saw, like, the all black, and I was like, it's going to be, like, Akito. It has to be. Like,
I know, I was just, like, so surprised we got it so soon. Like, I was not, I guess mentally I was just, I just didn't think it was gonna happen. I don't know.
Like,
I thought it was gonna,
boss in episode 12.
Yeah, that's why I was like, I was expecting either some other Zodiac or I don't know. I guess that's what I was expecting, or some new character. Which Akito isn't. He isn't a new character. Like, we've met him before, but now we've really met him, which is like, whoa.
Really?
But, so we're like, who's in the car? We learned that, Momiji and Haru have officially joined the school. The, spring, semester has started. So, Toru and Kyo and, Yuki, they've moved on to second year. And
do we know that they were first years for sure? I felt like that was new information that wasn't, like, obvious, but maybe it was obvious.
See, I thought they were, like, second years.
Already? Yeah. No, I think now they are officially. But I think maybe they did mention it offhand, like a throwaway thing, like in the first episode, like in the introduction of Toru. She's like, I'm a first year, maybe, and that just passed us by. Maybe. I don't know. But now we know for sure that they're second year now, and Haru and Momiji are first years. So they're all together now. And as always, the dog should be neutered, because I like that now people are reacting negatively or not having it, but it's also like, he should still be neutered. And I also like this little moment with Kyo where he's just getting, like, everyone's just slowly becoming aware that he's, like, in love with Toru. And it's the greatest thing. Like, Saki's just like, you know, he's getting worse at saying no. And it's like, yeah, it's so entertaining watching him fall for her. And it's like, yeah, that's a moment that we should consider for people who are fans of Kyo. Like, I know, like, I feel like we're, like, very Yuki dominant in our, like, support. But, like, that's, like, a nice little hint for Kyo.
I like it.
And we get another cute moment. Well, kind of. I don't know how to feel about it. So basically, Toru and him go to see Momiji and Haru, and while Kyo's like asking the classmates, like, hey, bring him out, there are these two guys who are very predatory and, like, aim for Toru, and it's, like, weird because at the same time I'm like, these guys are, like, first years in high school. They're, like, 14. They're not that scary. I'm like, Toru's, like, now, like, what, 16? Like, And, like, knowing how puberty hits boys later, like, really, it's 16, 17. So I'm like, these guys probably are, like, prepubescent. Like, they're not scary. So I was like, okay, this is, like, very aggressive. And I don't know. I don't buy it. But,
I
yeah.
do.
Yeah, I kind of did too, but I don't know.
I don't know. I was like,
I totally buy, like, them being extremely aggressive, especially, like, high school boys, like, and, like, they're starting, like, high school, like, they're in that age, so they think that they're just, like, the coolest thing ever, and that they own everything. Like, that's, like, when they start to hit, like, that peak invincibility stage, where they're like, nothing can hurt me, I have the world at my fingertips. Which is very annoying. So, like, I totally was, like, bought into, like, those two boys being, like, predatory, which sounds terrible, but, like, you know what I'm saying.
But
Yeah,
also,
I think because for me at least, like, it, like, the way they were saying it was a little weird, but, like, that didn't even bother me. It was when they were like, let's go talk to her, because, like, it probably didn't occur to them, but, like, there's, like, two of them and one of her.
Right.
And that's, like, a little awkward.
Well, I think
but,
it
like,
did occur to them.
yeah.
I think they were very much like, we are going to try and get some with this girl. And I'm just like, you're in school right now.
Yeah,
what are you doing?
doing?
Like, this isn't some, like, club or something. This is a high school. Like, calm down. Like, I don't know. I was just like, okay then. And then Kyo basically notices this, and because Toru's kind of, like, spaced out and kind of just, like, makes his stance, like, you know, is just, like, very...
He claims her with body language.
Yeah. And he's just like, back off. But like, it's like, I don't know how to feel about this because...
Yeah.
Because it implies, like, she's with me, which isn't really true.
But like,
from the body language.
Like,
Yeah.
like, that's not my problem, because it's like, look, like, that's like reality. Like, if like, I'm like walking in like, if it's late at night, again, this is like the daylight in high school, so I don't understand why it's happening here. But like, I like, if I'm like walking alone at night, I'm gonna call my brother and be like, yo, you're on speaker, we're gonna talk until I get home. Because because that's just how that's why we live in a patriarchy, and men don't only back off when they hear another man's voice, and a woman's voice is not enough. But that's not my problem. It's more the whole, one, he didn't really do anything to change these guys' attitudes. It's like, men have to be held accountable for letting other men do bad things, and he didn't. He was just like, I'm just gonna protect Toru because I just care about Toru. And it's like, all right, great. You didn't help with the actual societal problem, sure. But that's too much for Kyo, because clearly he has a lot of issues where I'm like, okay then. But he says this thing where he's like, look, Toru, you have to be more aware of your surroundings.
Yeah,
like,
that's what
if you were kidnapped, it'd be your fault. It's
yeah,
like,
that was the line that
wouldn't.
bugged me.
I was like, no, it wouldn't be her fault. It's the kidnapper's fault through and through. Like, what are you saying? Like, I don't know. I just did not like Kyo at all this episode. Like, every time he had a chance to prove me wrong, I'm like, no. Like, you just keep failing me. And it proves to me that Yuki's the superior choice. But also, like, it's very disappointing, because now I'm, like, really rooting for Yuki and not so much Kyo, because I'm just like, I can't handle this.
Yeah, I mean, I wish we could say that Kyo, like, because I remember before we had a conversation where Kyo, it's like, well, he hasn't had a lot of friends before. Maybe that's why, like, a lot of these ideals he could have aren't challenged sooner. But the thing is, we get this from, like, a bunch of different characters, so clearly it's not just Kyo who probably thinks things like this. It's just, like, kind of how the author felt about these things at the time when she wrote it. So then it's just like, yeah, it's just not good. Like, if it was just Kyo, I'd be like, he just needs to, like, broaden his worldview. But that's not really the case.
It's not just that, but it's also, like, you have, like, you have the counter within his own family. Like, you have the counter of someone thinking it's, like, not, like, in other instances thinking, like, oh, this thing isn't that big of a deal, and I'm comfortable with my masculinity, that I don't feel like whatever. And then you have him, and it's like, okay, well, you both had a similar upbringing in terms of, like, you both grew up in the same family, in the same kind of situation, so it's, like, no excuse. It's not like, oh, he doesn't interact much with people. Clearly he does. Or at least interacts as much as the other guy, which we'll talk about, but I just really can't with that moment. That was a strike one. And then strike 2 happens, which is Momiji shows up.
Oh,
in-
poor Momiji. Just let him wear what he wants.
Exactly.
Right.
My God.
Like, he shows up in this, and not even wearing, like, he's just wearing, like, the top part is, the girls.
Shorts on. It's not like he's in a skirt.
So it's like, and even if he wearing a skirt, it wouldn't matter.
Yeah,
but, like,
it shouldn't matter.
it's like he just has kind of like the girl's uniform he's basically wearing. And Kyo, like, attacks very aggressively. Like, he literally punches this kid. And it's like, just because he's wearing, like, something that isn't like, he's going against gender norms, and then he's, like, attacking him. And it's like, Haru is fine with it. Haru is like, who cares? And it's like, Haru and Kyo both trained together. They grew up together. Like, Haru was a lot closer with Kyo than he was with Yuki, especially as kids. And it's like, okay, so if Haru's fine with this, why do you have such a big problem with this? Like, what is your deal?
Didn't like it either, though.
See, here's the thing. I see, like, he didn't react violently is my thing. And I feel like it's more of like, oh, great, like, you're breaking a rule. It's more, I felt like with him, it read more as, oh, you're breaking a school rule. Like, we're already having a hard time with, like, our hair color. That's how I read from Yuki's perspective. But even if he's, like, against it, it's like, okay, yeah, but he didn't punch him. He didn't hit him. He wasn't a violent reaction, which to me is, like, bad. I'm like, there's a difference between someone being disapproving and not relying on physical violence than someone who is disapproving and is also acting on it through physical aggression. Like, that to me is like, I can't.
No, I think that's fair.
And also, Yuki has had, like, has an entire history with, like, oh, people forcing him to wear dresses, and he wears them to please the people, because we saw it with the Culture Festival, and he feels uncomfortable with it, but I feel like that's more of his sensitivity with his own femininity. Yeah. So he's just like, okay, you're breaking a rule, all right. But then Kyo is just like, no, and then it just all this kind of added, like, it's all added on top of the fact that every time he fights Yuki and every time he's trying to get under his skin, the first thing he attacks is, you have a girly face. You look like a girl. Like,
or he'll call him girly boy, yeah.
Which is like, all right, like, Kyo, you're just, this is not okay. And I just hated that moment. And then it just got worse, because then we were introduced to the president, who was just annoying.
Horrible president!
I hate the president.
Why do you hate him, April? Go first.
Because, well, he had, oh my gosh. Where do you begin with this person? First off, he's a walking, talking contradiction. Mm-hmm. He definitely has power issues. Also, the way that he just has those 2 girls walking around with him, and that bothers me. I don't know why, but it just really does. But also, he had, like, the biggest issue with, like, Momiji's outfit. He was a lot more vocal about it, I guess. Mm-hmm. And not that I agree with anything that, like, any of Kyo's reactions, but goodness gracious. And then, like, I feel like I'm ranting or just rambling, but, like, cause oh gosh, I just want to call him Ha-kun because I know him that way. But, like, he's, like, sticking up for Momiji, and that's so sweet and everything like that. But then he's like, well, how is your hair white and black? Like, that's not natural. And, like, it can totally be natural. How do you explain gray hair? Like,
yeah.
Salt and pepper hair. He was very stressed. Leave him alone.
Yeah, right? Like, you can get gray hair at any age, okay? I'm just saying. So...
Also, I'm like, do people, like, not know that, like, Momiji is, like, half German? I'm like, do you not know that he, like, yes, genetics isn't as drastic, but if you're like, oh, that's why he has blonde hair, it's like, yeah, makes sense. Like, why are people doubting the I don't know. It's just, yeah.
Well, and then the other thing that bothered me, too, was that, like, because I guess... I could never get hit. I just want to call him Ha-kun, or Haru, sorry. But Haru, he like his way like he turns into Dark Haru, which is a problem because he was being very aggressive with Toru, and that's not okay. But his way to like appeal to like the people was like, oh well, like Momiji will just grow out of this, and it's like, what if he does it? And even if he doesn't, it doesn't matter. Like,
and he's like appealing to their potential attraction to him when he's older. He does the same thing with the president. And that's why I don't like the president. Like, it's like, dude, one, let Luigi just, like, be his true self. And two, like, don't, like, buy his bribery to wear what he wants by thinking of Yuki also breaking dress code. Like, if you're fine with that, how come you can't be fine with Momiji?
Well, and then the other thing that bothers me, too, is because he even says, the teachers are okay with it. Cool,
right,
you should be okay with it too.
Yeah.
Like, it shouldn't matter at that point. Like, if the teachers are okay with it, like, that is not your job to just make up whatever rules that you want just because you don't like something. Like, you're supposed to be a representative of everyone, and while also enforcing school rules. And if school rules dictate that Momiji can wear whatever he wants, then Momiji can wear whatever he wants, and that's not for you to question it. Like, if you have that much of a problem, then you need to have your parents go up to the school board or however your school system works. But like,
that's the thing though. It's like you all like, if we know that the school's fine with it, then why is Kyo so upset? Why is Yuki so upset? Why is Haru like trying? I mean, Haru's like,
Haru
doesn't really care.
Haru doesn't care, but I feel like, so like, again, I don't like the way that like Kyo reacted in any way. And I don't, and you know, and it also bothers me that like Yuki's not okay with it too. But like, I feel like their reason for being upset makes more sense than like the president. Like the president's upset just because he doesn't want to look at it. Whereas like Kyo and Yuki are upset because they're just trying to not draw any more attention to the Somas.
See, and so I don't think it's that. I don't think with Kyo it's that much. I can understand maybe with Yuki, but Kyo goes out of his way to call it. He says. He says it's creepy. Like, if you're gonna draw attention to yourself, you're gonna do it in this creepy way. Like, that to me is like, Kyo also has a problem with it, like the president.
Yeah.
Well, because the president says, like, essentially, like, if you start like this now, something about like 70% of his life's gonna be
like,
worse.
Basically, he's saying if you start now, you're gonna be gay later. And it's like, what is that supposed to mean?
Well, then the reason why, like, I have the bigger issue with the president is because he says, have you no male pride?
Right.
He can have whatever pride he wants. Like, and I think it's just like that, like that statement in and of itself is bothersome. Like, have you no male pride? Like, what even is that? Like,
what's shameful about wearing something that's more feminine? Like, what does that mean, president?
What is it? Excuse me, do you want to define genders for me, president? Like, let's talk. But that's my biggest issue with the president is that line in and of itself. And then it just snowballs from there. But then it's okay if Yuki wears a school dress. Like, come on now. Like,
yeah. And what's really annoying, it's like Yuki has expressed his discomfort
dislike
with
of it.
Dislike of it. So it's like, well, here's someone who enjoys it, and now it's like bad. So it's like, oh my God. And I mean, maybe I think for me, the reason why I don't, maybe it's because I don't care about the president. I'm like, you're a random character. We may not ever see you again after
we're
this
not
episode.
Supposed to like, clearly.
So, and exactly, we're not supposed to like you. We're supposed to like Kyo. We're supposed to be rooting for this guy. And I'm just like, I can't anymore. No, like, you think it, oh God, it was just so sad for me. Where now I'm just like, Team Yuki 100%, screw you.
I'm happy to have you back 100%.
Cause like,
to the east.
Yeah. Anyway, but that was addressed. And then we do, April, you mentioned how, Dark Haru does have this like, moment with Toru. I wasn't as impacted by that.
I didn't mind it as much either.
I didn't mind it because
he asked her. He's like, "Do you want to have sex? We don't have sex." Which like is like a lot, but at least he's like he's not going to do anything till she says yes at that point, which is a lot better than before.
Right?
Yeah,
yeah.
That's fair. I just think that it's very like okay, because the obvious okay, and maybe I'm just a perverted minded person. I don't know. But like he like we all know how he proved his hair color. And so, but I mean, obviously Toru doesn't, and that's because she is very sweet and innocent. And I feel like if you like, even if you ask someone who doesn't necessarily understand what's going on, like that's still like taking advantage, you know, like of a person, like saying like, oh, do you want to do it? And she could be like, yes. But then like, he's like, I mean, have sex. And she's like, what? No. Like, but, and then he could easily say something along the lines of like, but you already said yes, like knowing how we like to portray these characters. And so I think it's like, that's my problem with it, is because like she doesn't necessarily know what's going on in the conversation, and so she's not like fully aware of how she should or shouldn't respond. So that you could easily like take advantage. It's like it would be like if someone got me drunk and then asked me if I wanted to have sex. Like
see, but the thing is, I feel you're taking a couple big assumptions and thinking like, okay, she's not aware, because she may not be aware of how, but maybe that doesn't necessarily of how like he proved to it, but that doesn't necessarily mean that she doesn't know about sex. Like I'm just saying, like
not that, but I don't think she understands that that's what he was insinuating.
Right.
Yes.
But then that's assuming that she's gonna say yes. She might say no, and then he might back off. Like there's like a lot of or like assumptions of like making the assumption that if she says no, he's gonna still keep pressuring her. And these are things we don't see. We don't see these next steps that you need to take in order to make that leap in logic. So I don't necessarily agree with that. And like, this is a good way to kind of lead into something that really bothered me, which is this assumption by these guys. And we keep talking about this in every podcast. Toru is so emotionally intelligent. She's aware of things. She takes note of things. Why do people keep it, like, just because she might seem like a bit clueless and like a space cadet does not make her an, like, actual one. Like, she could know these things. She could be aware, and everyone's like, no, we have to protect Toru. It's like, it's fine to want to protect someone, but to assume that it's because they're ignorant, to me, is a problem. I'm like, don't underestimate Toru. She clearly knows, and as we're about to talk about, she knows a lot. She's much more capable than we think. And she's much more aware.
She can read people
very, very well.
Yeah.
So I'm just like,
I'm not saying that she, like, I'm not like trying to put Toru down or anything like that. It's just that in the light that the show is painting of her, like, it's very easy to draw this conclusion.
See, I don't think it's painted that way, because we keep seeing the show
she does a really good job at showing like emotional I don't want to use the word common sense, but like in terms of like emotionally she's really good at like reading. She's very in tune, but then it seems like anything outside of that, like she ends up drawing a blank. And I love Toru and everything like that, but that's just like, that's my issue with it, is that, and then it seems like then she gets put into these situations where she can be quote unquote like easily taken advantage of. And so like I have a problem with that. Like if you know, like if you're going to have a character be so much like, it's like you're sacrificing one thing to give her all of this like emotional intelligence.
I don't know. I don't know. I think I don't know. I think certain characters are seeing her that way, but I don't know if the show in general might be portraying her that way, but we'll different readings. But let's move on to the second half of the episode, which is the big one, which is Akito. We learned that Akito came to visit as like along with Shigure. He tagged along, and Akito and Toru finally meet. What, Michelle? What are we kind of got a hint of how you feel about Akito in terms of like how you personally feel. But what was your first impression of him? And you're right. He and Yuki look a lot alike, which makes me think maybe they're siblings.
Maybe.
I
I mean,
don't know.
Like, not all the Somas are related, but like maybe, but they're all
they
hot
are
for some
related,
reason.
but,
But
like-
that might not have a in-universe reason behind it. I thought Akito was like at least like 5 or 6 years older than Yuki based on like the first flashback we get. Maybe he just ages really well because he looks like the same age as Yuki and Kyo, but I don't think he is. I feel like he probably still is older than them. I was kind of blown away because he's just like casually there and like just chill black clothes, chilling out. He's like really slender and like, but somehow that makes him like even scarier. I don't know why, but it's just like, oh my God. And I mean, I was very uncomfortable with the fact that he was very attractive because I don't like him and I don't trust him. And the fact that Yuki got so scared, one, when he realized that Akito was there at all, and two, when he saw him talking to Toru, I made such a point of like asking her multiple times, like, what did he say to you? Like anything sketchy? Like if he's not afraid of him doing something to her, like that says so much about what happened to him as a kid. And it got really dark and it was like honestly really upsetting to get the flashbacks of the like the quick cuts of whatever was going on in that room. And just like having Shigure reinforce that later saying like mental torture or emotional torture. Just like, oh my God, like I had no idea it was that bad. Like he basically isolated Yuki and like he did who knows what to him or said who knows what to him like over and over again. And like, why Yuki? I don't know. I guess I'm kind of curious now which animal Akito is, because for some reason I'd assumed he was like the dragon instead of Hatori, because I thought like the dragon's like the biggest and most scary. So like maybe that's why he could never like see people, because like that'd be too much to like a bunny's one thing to reveal to like random people like a dragon's but like I don't know what he is at this point. Like, is he the ram? I mean, that's not scary. So I mean, I don't know, but that it just it makes you ask a lot more questions, but like also just like dang, like Yuki, I feel really like I already felt bad for him, but it was such like a secret why he didn't trust Akito, and that was like enough for us. It was like, okay, like he doesn't trust him, like so we don't trust him either. But like this is just like such a bomb to throw on his past, and it's just really a lot, which is why I think I like feel so weird about the episode, because the first half is like so jokey and then this happens and it's like, what happened? Like the tone just totally shifts during this part and it's wild. I don't know. I mean, Akito, he's a force to be reckoned with. Like, he starts off, him, like, talking really pleasantly to Toru, honestly, like, freaked me out as much as anything. Like, yeah, very pleasant conversation until she pushed him, which was so badass. And then the car ride home, he's, like, saying all this stuff about her and, like, is clearly, like, really mad at her. But, like, oh, man, he's a complicated person, clearly.
Yeah. I mean, April, do you think he's a Zodiac? I mean, I just assumed he was
the head. He has to be, right?
I thought he was like, I don't know, like, you know how in the first episode, like the very first one, there's like this scene where the person, like, I don't know if it's like an emperor is the one who invites all the animals over. I thought he was like the emperor or something.
Like a descendant of that. That's what or like, was it like an emperor or like some kind of god or something like that? Like a demigod or whoever. Mm-hmm. But like, I always just figured that, like I can't imagine that like he's a Zodiac member. Like, who would he be? That would be my thing. See, that's why I'm like, oh, he must be like the reincarnation of like that demigod or whoever. And that's why like that would also, because I was like, we've always talked about Akito like he's so much older, but he doesn't look that much older than everyone else. Like, he looks so young. Yeah. And so that's why like I would draw that conclusion like, okay, well, like he like at some point in his life or whatever, it's like revealed that he is the demigod reincarnated. And so that would be the only explanation as to why someone so young would be the head of this like huge family. And him and Yuki look super close. Like they look like more related than any other like Soma that we've come across. So
he'd be like the dark rat. The even more shadier rat.
Or it'd be really funny if he was like the mouse.
Oh my god.
The hamster.
But
no, he is kind of terrifying in the best ways. Like maybe he's like Momiji, you know, where it's like he looks really young for his age. So like when Momiji grows up, he'll look like a high schooler or something. I don't know.
When he's really like 26.
Yeah, maybe. That would make sense. But I think what really hit me throughout this entire thing, because one, like Toto was also really creeped out for him being so nice. She even like points it out. She was like, I didn't expect him to be so pleasant. And I like that word for him, like pleasant, which isn't like nice. It's just, you know, like amicable. I don't know.
Yeah.
But it's like when Yuki shows up and like, again, A+ on the voice acting, because the way his voice, it's not even aggressive. It's kind of just like very timidly aggressive, kind of just being like, what did you do to her? But it's like pleading, like, please tell me you didn't do something. And it's like, he just seems so powerless. Like near Akito. Which is something we've never really seen before, because from everything we know, he's defying Akito in everything he's doing. He's living outside. He didn't go to the banquet. He's doing all these things. And then I don't know, at least for me, I had this image of him being like, oh, he's very defiant to Akito. He is trying to rebel and all this stuff. Yet when he's in front of him, he just like melt isn't the proper word, but he crumbles.
Yeah.
That's a better word. Like he just crumbles. He can't handle it. And the animation was so well done in this episode, because you see him flinch, you see him freeze, like the way that the animators were able to illuminate his fear and just like his, I guess, PTSD was very well done. And
even,
you know,
I was gonna say, even like the animation of Akito was,
oh my god,
like
yes.
because like there's such a big difference between like the conversation, like, and it's like subtle too. Like there's such a big difference between the Akito who's talking to Toru and the Akito who's talking to Yuki, and then even the Akito who's talking to like Shigure in the car. Like they're not the same, like, it's not the same, like, it's the same person, but, like, they're animated totally differently. Like the Toru, like, Akito is very kind, but it still has, like, a dripping and menace, and then, like,
still, like, stares at her hostilely.
Yeah.
While he's saying these nice things, which is so uncomfortable.
Yes. Yeah. And then, like, obviously, like, he's very, very menacing whenever he's talking to Yuki, and even threatening so. And then, like, when he's in the car, he just seems so manic, like, crazy. So it's like, props to like the animators, because it was beautiful.
Yeah, and I appreciate how it doesn't, because that could easily make it seem like a different animation style for each specific Akito, but no, it's still very much him. It's just drawn,
like subtle,
like, exactly.
Yeah, like subtly with like the eyes, and like even like the way that like the character is moving is different. Like it's very, very, I love it. Like, this is why I love animation.
Yeah. And it's like that line of like, do I have to re-educate you? It's like, what? What do you mean?
He's talking like nicely-ish to Yuki, but there's like this like menacing playfulness to his entire tone with him that just like speaks volumes about whatever happened when Yuki was younger.
Yeah. And I mean, let's talk about what happened in his special room. So it's I mean, that's what he said. It's so creepy, because he like, when he says it, like he kind of grazes Yuki's lips, and I was like, what is going on right now? Right? Also, side note, the entire music throughout this interaction is kind of brilliant, because it's so.
I don't even remember it.
Like it's just because I remember it, because then when Toru intervenes, it's silence.
Oh,
so that's why it makes her intervention.
Yeah. Okay.
So it makes her intervention that much more impactful. But before we get to Toru, like, we know from the dog that he was just psychologically abusing Yuki. I guess I don't know if he was like putting hard metal music and like or screaming while writing on the walls and like I don't know, but we know that he forced Yuki to be locked in a dark room for like who knows how long, which is very, very worrisome. And it also explains a lot about why Yuki just doesn't, how he feels so isolated. This is like the most extreme version of isolation, of being forced to be isolated.
I was going to say, it sounds like he was put in isolation.
Yeah.
No, he was.
Yeah.
Akito did.
So, and who knows what, like, other things would have happened, because, like, being put in isolation, like, but to also be just, like, to flinch at someone touching you or to be like that means that not only was it, like, psychological, but there probably was some physical abuse in there as well, because I mean, unless, like, the psychological abuse is just so deeply cut, like, that's just terrifying. Like, that's horrifying that people do this.
Yeah. And sorry, continue.
I was gonna say, I was like, nothing makes it okay, like, especially because he was, like, obviously so young whenever it started and then just continued. So, like, no wonder Yuki wants to escape all of that.
Yeah, no wonder he's not good at making friends. He's in a room so much of his life. Like, how do you learn to make friends that way?
Yeah. And I mean, I think what really, like, made me just mad was he had to tell Shigure, please get me out of here, in order for Shigure to get him out of the situation. Like, he's had to beg. He is on the floor. Yeah. He's just like, please, like, let me escape. And it's like, where are the parents? Where are they? And how did they let this happen? This is, like, how is it that Shigure is the one adult that he felt comfortable going to?
Right?
Like, of everybody, he was the only one. Like, really? I don't know.
I think maybe Shigure was just around Akito more because in the last Shigure episode, he says, like, I love you more than anyone else. And, like, we know it's probably not true, but if he says that stuff to Akito, it implies that he has, like, a closer relationship with him than some of the other Zodiac members. So maybe, like, because Yuki was in isolation, Akito had an interest in him, and Shigure was hanging out with Akito, their paths just crossed a lot more. Yeah. So they interacted more than he did with, like, literally anyone else.
Right.
It also probably could have been too, because along that same note that like, Shigure was probably the one person who could convince Akito that it would be okay. Yeah. And also convince Akito that, oh, well, while Yuki's under my care kind of you know what I mean? Mm-hmm, like, he could appeal to Akito more and get away with it.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I'm like getting so tired of this Soma family passive aggressiveness of just not actually dealing with the core of the problem. Cause that's what brings up that's what makes Toru's intervention with this entire deal so much more important. Her pushing Akito away. And it's not a hard push. It's like very soft, which also like makes the animation.
He's like sickly skinny, so he probably isn't hard to move.
Right, no, totally.
He's like the size of her.
Totally. But I will like the way that the animation was able to express that it wasn't a hard, it wasn't a shove, it was just a soft kind of push was well done. But it was so, that's why it's so important, because here you have someone, an outsider, who feels like she like, I feel like part of the reason Akito maybe like is really pissed, because I feel like maybe he finds her disgusting, and he goes like, you laid your hands on me, how dare you? Like, at least that's like what one way I'm like, I can see how he can be mega mad, because he's just that kind of like, outsiders are bad, we can only be like insiders, like Zodiacs only type of thing. But
plus it's just like rude, right? It's like, it's way ruder than saying something, like literally pushing someone's like a pretty rude thing to do.
Right. And she just was able to read the situation. Again, she is not so dim-witted. She's able to read the danger. She's able to see that that Yuki is being is terrified of him. She's able to realize that she is terrified of Akito and that he's dangerous, but she still acts and still defies him in the most what's that word? Direct way possible, and literally becomes the wall between him and Yuki. And just, like, that to me is, like, I think, like, that's never happened before. I don't think that's ever happened before with Akito.
I don't think anyone stood up to him.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's the first time I think anyone's actually stood up to him. And that to me, that's just why Toru is so amazing. And that moment itself was just so powerful. And from the way that the lead up to it, the what we learn and the impression we get from Akito up to this point, and her still having the power to do what is least expected of her, what no one expects her to do, she still manages to do. And shows that she is the strongest person in any room with the Somas, because she's the one person who will still do what's right by Yuki, what's right by Kyo, what's right by anybody who is in pain, who is suffering. And that's just why she's so incredible. Toru is like the greatest character. I love her so much. Nice little like detail when Akito like is heading out and he meets Kyo. Kyo has cat eyes.
Yeah, what is up with that? What does that mean? What did he do stuff to Kyo? Or I don't know. The cat eyes just really got to me too.
Like,
First
I don't
time
know.
I'm seeing that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if it's like, I don't know if we should read that as just, because sometimes, how they draw like, the cat ears, or they'll draw like the bunny ears on Momiji. They did that earlier.
Felt like was like,
it felt different. It did feel different.
Okay, like, you know how in paranormal movies, like cats and dogs are always the first one to know when there's like a ghost or something. Like the way Kyo was looking at Kito was like he was sensing a demon and his cat instincts were responding.
Right. I wonder if, because based off like the whole thing with Kyo is because everyone else like very much seems to understand that Akito is a threat, but Kyo doesn't seem to kind of get that. And so like I kind of read it like the same way, Michelle, like his like cat senses are going off, like there's danger nearby, but he doesn't understand that it's necessarily from Akito. Because I feel like Akito wouldn't bother himself with like Kyo all that much, other than to just like, like spread terrible lies about him and just be like, you're not a part of the family, get out of here kind of situation. Like,
he could have seen what had just gone down though. And like, that's part of why the Yuki thing freaks us out though, right? Because like Yuki, we've never seen him be vulnerable out of fear.
Right.
And like, he always wins the fights with Kyo. Yep. He's always kind of on top. Like he's aloof with people, but he's never like scared. And so, like, if Kyo is seeing this happen and sees how, like, freaked out Yuki is, knowing Yuki, that says a lot. And that could be part of why he's just like, Jesus, like, what? Who is this person? They're bad news.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, also, what type of relationship would Kyo and Akito have? Like, would they even have one?
Yeah, I don't think so.
Probably would not have much of a relationship.
Like, I'm just trying to, because I'm trying to, we haven't really seen them really interact with each other, and I'm just trying to imagine it. And I don't know what to think, because Kyo wants to be part in the inner circle, but I'm assuming Akito would be the one to allow him or not. But I can't imagine Kyo wanting anything to do with Akito.
I don't think Kyo wants anything to do with Akito. I think he just wants to be a part, like to be included in the family.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, and that's the other reason why too, because I feel like if everyone was like honest about Akito with Kyo, then he would probably be like, no, I don't want a part of that either, kind of situation. Because we sit here and we speculate. We're like, why does Kyo want to be a part of the family? Like, clearly it's not okay. But I don't think he sees the not okay parts. Like,
he hasn't been around it that much very intimately yet.
I don't know.
I don't think it's like directly affected him as much as it has everyone else.
Right. Well, maybe it's like a blessing for him to be the cat, and I don't know. It's interesting. I'm curious to see how he's gonna come to that realization where he's like, oh, I actually got the lucky end of the stick, where like, oh, maybe I'm the one who just escaped this trauma everyone else dealt with, I guess. But we finish off very briefly going back to Toru for a second. She also recognizes that Akito doesn't like her.
Yeah, I was proud of her for that. She's like, what is this look? Is this hostility? Does he hate me? I'm like, good job. You did it. Yeah,
you figured it out, girlfriend.
Yeah.
But it's like, it's not even her being like, does he hate me? It's not even a question. She goes like, he does hate me, but that's not what matters at the moment. Like, I don't have time to worry about why he hates me. Which is, again, she's so sharp, and can see through his facade. But what's so lovely is that her immediate place of importance is, I need to take care of Yuki. I need to make sure he's okay. She wants to banish the terror of Akito. She is just like, you're not in a good place. I need to take care of you. I'm going to do everything possible to make you happy right now. Which, what is that solution? She's like, hey, let's go play with everybody. Like, let's go play badminton. There's no rules. It's fine. It's badminton. No one cares. And it's through that you see that not only does she manage to do it, she manages to make him feel better, but you see his family, you see how to take note. I think he thanks her. He sees that Yuki is better, and he's aware that it's all because of Toru and all the things that she did to make sure that Yuki was okay. And just that little I guess monologue that Yuki has, where all that he wanted was parents who hugged him, a home he'd want to return to, a place where people smiled, and a me that everyone wouldn't leave, which makes me think that his parents left him. Like, I'm
like, the not hugging him thing too. It's like, do they not hug him because he turned into a rat, or like because they were just stiff people?
Right. And then he's like, I want a warm place, a warm person. And then there's an image of Toru right there.
Yeah.
And then he just goes like, and then he's just like, they really exist. They're real. And he makes this face. And I'm just like, oh. It was completely precious. And, I don't know. I just, I don't remember how this thing ended. And I can't. If Yuki and Toru aren't it, I'm gonna be so upset because she can't leave him. She can't do that. Not again.
He's so nice to her. He treats her with respect, and she helps him overcome his loss of community and feel like a real person. It's just a really good couple.
Like, they're so good. I just don't want this to be Harry and Hermione. You know what I mean?
Oh my God. Well, what's wrong with that?
Like, I don't want it to be that, where it's like, oh, like, well, no, they're so much better for each other. They should be together.
I mean, aren't they though?
What? Harry and Hermione aren't together?
Yeah, I know, but like, wouldn't they be better for each other?
They would.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. I thought you were saying no. Ron's great. I was
no, I'm saying that I don't want them to end up like Harry and Hermione, where they don't end up together.
Yeah, well, not real life, but like the life of the books. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just, oh man, like I just
think it might happen though, because like that Kyo moment in the forest, when she just lets him have his space and he's really just like having his own PTSD flashback. I mean, if we get more like that, I'm gonna understand it more. But like, yeah, we've gotten so much more of Yuki. It's really hard to think of Kyo right now.
It's just, I don't know. I just want Yuki and Toru to be happy.
Yeah. In whatever way. Just like be together in some fashion, please. Be like,
have a nice family.
Like, I'm just worried that, because I don't know if Kyo and Yuki will ever like
smooch.
Not Kyo and Yuki smooch.
Oh wait,
they could.
I mean, I don't know. Again, that's still I'm still like, they're still related. I don't know if I'm for that, but I'm saying, like, I don't know if they'll ever like I'm just worried that she's gonna have to choose one in terms of like, if I'm with one of you, I can't have the other one in my life, and I don't want that. I don't care whoever she chooses romantically. I still want her to be in Yuki's life.
the thing is, like, Toru's whole goal has been to try to get them to be friends. And she said, like, oh, my New Year's resolution was for them to get along, and that hasn't happened yet. That's a bummer. Clearly, they're whenever this ends, if she ends up with one of them, fine. But the other one is going to like her a lot still and probably be friends with the other guy, too. Because that's just, like, that's Toru's real endgame, and I can't see them not giving that to her for her own personal satisfaction. Right? Nothing else.
Like, they can't make her, like, abandon
one
of them. I just can't. Yuki, she can't abandon Yuki. She can't. I don't
think she would ever abandon anybody. Like, that's the thing with her, is that. And I feel like through all of the emotional healing that she is providing with all of them, that they will, like, obviously we want it to be Yugi, but I feel like no matter who she ends up with, the other person is going to be understanding simply because she got them to that point. Totally. Like if it was like, if it was like right now, they had to be like, all right, Toru, I need you to pick like me or Yuki or me or Kyo. And if she like picked one, then the other person would be like, all right, I will never see you guys again. Goodbye. But like, I feel like eventually we're going to get to a place where that's not going to be the outcome.
Right. Yeah, because
that makes me so happy.
Yeah, they get so much good stuff from her already. Why would they like leave that behind by being like sad that she wasn't dating them? Like, no way. And they want all that good stuff that she provides regardless.
And it's not like she would stop being a good friend to them because she was with the other person.
Right.
Despite like them not getting along. But they've already like shown progress that they get along, like
better than
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. All right. Thank you for calming my anxieties about this. I'm a worrier, and I just want them all to be happy. I know they're all fictional. I know, but still,
I care a lot about Yuki. It's true.
Me too. Yeah. I'd give him a hug, but I can't.
Yeah. See, but even as a rat, I'd give him a hug, you know? Like, that's how much I care about him, where I'm like, I won't be disgusted of your rat form. I just want you to be happy. Like, let me give you, like, these little, like, I don't know, what do rats eat? Like, I will feed you that if you want. I'll give him cheese. There you go. That's what they want.
There you go.
But yeah, that's really the big points of the episode. Is there anything you want to mention before we go?
Okay, so I was thinking a lot about the Toru discussion from earlier, because in the heat of the moment, I was like, oh, I just want to, like, listen to you guys talk, because I don't know how I feel either. I think, like, I fall somewhere in the middle. I think the thing is, like, the whole space cadet thing, I think the way people are reading her as, like, spacey and not aware is just because, like, it kind of goes back to the last episode with the Momiji story. Like, Toru, by nature, trusts everyone, believes in everyone, is willing to give everyone the benefit of a doubt, to show them kindness instead of being suspicious and cautious and fearful. So I feel like that kind of like trust and openness and willingness to like, it's a kind of bravery. And I feel like we've said that before, but I feel like sometimes like when she's just hanging out, like people assume it's because like she's not aware, but actually it's because like she's just willing to just the people won't be creepy. So I feel like she's like kind of in the middle. Like I think she is pretty aware of things, but she's also just like she views the world a way that a lot of people don't, and a lot of people are like a lot more cautious than her. And I mean, I do think it's good that she has like people obviously looking out for her because she could get hurt. But I think the show at least is trying to say, from Momiji's perspective anyway, that like it's not wrong for her to be that way, I guess.
Right.
That like that actually somebody like that can be really good and great and not dumb, and that like maybe it's worth trying to look at the world that way and to approach people that way, because like again, like I don't think she'd have all these friends if she was a person who was any other way than she authentically is. So I don't know, I feel like it's like kind of radical in its own way that she's like that. Because yeah, like I don't think she's dumb, but it's true that she comes off kind of spacey sometimes. But I feel like the root of that like presumed spaciness is just that she she just doesn't expect people to be bad, and that's like kind of crazy. But it's like really nice because like it's working out for her. Maybe people are nicer in real life and work out for them. I guess I feel just like more hopeful that it's like not a bad thing. And I think it's something that like Kyo is gonna have to unlearn to expect out of her, and maybe other people too. But like clearly it's gonna win and save the day in the end, like, right? So that like that's a statement. Like I feel like this show's gonna make a statement about that or continue to.
You know, Akito.
Yeah.
Akito is bad when
Yes.
even Toru is like, this guy's bad news.
Yeah.
No, for sure.
Like, dang, like
She
you're
trusts
right.
everyone.
You're right.
And
Like she
she's
gets
like,
it.
I don't trust this
She's gonna
man.
push you. Yeah.
Yeah, like
Get
she.
away from Yuki.
Like
Mhm.
I remember what was it? I think it was like episode 5. I don't remember the exact episode where like it was the banquet episode where then Kyo and Yuki were like, oh, like we need to go back. She's like she wouldn't like what if there's a robber? She would invite them over and ask for their sob story, and it's like she wouldn't even do that for Akito, which just tells you
Yeah.
everything you need to know about Akito.
Oh, that's actually a great point because that means Toru's like real power is like so most people can write someone off and just assume they suck. But Toru's like able to see inside people to maybe like more who they truly are. And her judgment is so fine-tuned that she ends up being a lot kinder and nicer to people who are worth it. And like she can tell that somehow. But to like the average person observing, it's like, why is she doing that? That's dangerous. Like if it was a sketchy burglar, like I'm pretty sure she would not let them in. I think Toru could discern that if she can push Akito. Yeah, for sure.
Oh man. Oh god, Akito's bad news. He's bad news. He's real bad news. I'm so scared. I'm so
scared. Upset that he is attractive. Again, I'm so upset because I cannot get over it. He's like in my top 3 now, and I don't like that.
Really? Top 3?
Yeah.
Reminder, we
like
need
Yuki and Haru for sure.
We need to do like a top 3 so far of like characters of just like attractiveness level, and then we need to, and then like we need to do that. But oh man, yeah. I mean, well, what's crazy is Akito has the same haircut as Yuki. It's kind of ridiculous.
I know, and they're probably like the same height.
Do you think he saw Yuki? Excuse me. Do you think Akito saw Yuki's haircut and was like, "I need that"?
I need to copy. He'll like me if I look more like him. That's how things work.
I want it to be that rather than the alternative, which is Yuki is low-key still emulating Akito because that's all he knew.
I hate that.
Yeah.
Way by accident. I don't know.
I will say though, I don't think they're the same frame. I think Yuki's like is taller and more like is a bigger guy than Akito. I think we're used to
because Akito's so sick.
No, I know, but I think it's kind of like it's interesting because usually like Yuki's kind of presented as being like really like slender, really whatever, but then next to Akito, he's like no, he's healthy. You see Akito's like no.
Yes.
Oh,
well, and that just also like drives home like the fact that like Yuki, someone who we already know is very strong, is like very put off by this person. Yeah. So makes him even more horrible.
Oh, for sure.
Does it make him more attractive though? Is that part of it, Michelle? Like, is it also like the evilness?
The menace, the subtle menace definitely is part of the appeal. I'm ashamed to say that, but it's true.
It's okay. It's okay.
It's just interesting. It's got like a fiery power behind it. Like I don't love Akito. Like I care about Yuki's sense of well-being. And I don't think Akito, like I don't want Akito to die. Like I want him to be redeemed. But if he did die, like if that was what it took for Yuki to be able to really move past that whole chapter of his childhood, like that's kind of okay with me. But just like on a purely visual level, I can't deny the truth.
Look, both things can coexist, is what I'm saying. I think you're safe. Both things can coexist. Where are we on the will Akito survive? After this episode, which is a very big Akito episode, how like, what percentage of you thinks that Akito's gonna die and what percentage of you thinks he's not? Like, are you like over, under, like, 70%? I think I'm like good, like a solid 50, where I'm like, I can imagine him dying, I can imagine him surviving.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm very on the fence. Like I can I can definitely see where he would end up surviving, but I can also like definitely see like the only way out is for him to go away permanently.
I feel like I'm more like 85% he's not gonna die now. And that's just because Toru's like making an impression on him too, right? He like couldn't stop talking about her in that car, saying how ugly she was, which is obviously not true because he said she was really hot before. And I don't think he was just flattering her. Well, no, I think the push just really got to him.
Oh, okay.
It's like we were saying, like nobody did that to him before. He's like, that's the rudest shit. Oh, I hate her. She sucks. Like, and he's trying to believe all these things to make him feel better that like she really shook him up. But I feel like the fact that she's able to shake him up that much already, like we've got to see them interact more. I feel like she's going to keep, like, as she changes everyone else, she's got to change him too. Because, like, how Toru, I don't think could live with herself if he died and she felt responsible in any way. Like, I shouldn't have pushed him. He was sick. Now, you know, so I feel like he has to stay alive for her to change his worldview or something.
Oh man, what if he's like really old? And we just, you know, he's like Momiji, like, what if he's like really old and he's actually like an old, frail man that she just pushed or something? That would be really funny.
I want to know what like skin cream he's using to look like a 16-year-old. Yeah.
Like, give me your regimen. Give me your skincare regimen, man.
Soaks the blood of fallen someone in his back every night.
Oh man. All right. Anything else that you guys want to say before we go?
Hanajima continues to be best girl.
Yes. She really scared Kyo. That was pretty funny.
Yeah. Speaking of Hanajima, I think who was it that mentioned? Okay, that Kyo couldn't like sense Akito or something.
Oh yeah,
like,
she's like she could sense Shigure,
but she couldn't.
Yeah,
she couldn't, which makes me think like, is he like dead inside? Does he not have any waves? Like I feel like every human should have some form of waves. Whatever how strong they are is like irrelevant. Maybe he just doesn't have any.
Well, maybe like you were saying, like I still believe that he's a reincarnation of a god because like that doesn't make sense somehow. Like that's not. I mean. Okay, maybe it's related to the zodiacs, but like I don't know if that checks out. But that could be a reason. Maybe gods have different waves than the animal people.
Yeah.
Or maybe like she only really senses waves of people she's familiar with. So maybe she doesn't. She's not familiar with Akito, so she couldn't sense him.
Maybe. I mean, she kind of sensed like Kyo's like energies, like when he first came to the class.
That's true.
And like I don't know. Like, I don't know. I'm just, I
like the idea of him being dead inside.
Okay, and here's
only
a thought.
That
why he only wears black.
Yeah.
All right. Kind of, okay, well then counter interpretation. She says, oh, I just sense like a guardian-like thing. She mentions that after we see him arrive. After we see Akito arrive. Which I doubt that he would have the same waves of a guardian. Okay, two ways we can interpret it.
She sensed Shigure's like waves from the guardian section at the ceremony.
I don't know because okay, three ways to interpret this. Three ways. All right.
Growing.
So first one was okay, it's Shigure. Okay, whatever. Second is maybe she was actually reading Akito, but everyone's just assuming it's Shigure because it's like it's like a guardian type of thing. Or Third thing, here's like a mind bender. What if Akito and Shigure are read the same way because they're both evil?
Oh. I mean, like, they are both evil.
I mean, both of them are not good for Toru. We know that much.
Yeah.
So it's like, maybe it's the third way. You know, maybe they do, she is reading him, but it's like, she is sensing him, but everyone thinks it's Shigure, and it's like, but maybe that's the problem. It's that Shigure isn't good either. I don't know.
I wish that the show would be that like black and white with Shigure, but I don't think they will, unfortunately.
I know. It's really frustrating. But I don't know. Anyway, apologies to all the Kyo lovers. I mean, I was harsh on him, but also like he gave me reason to be harsh on him. And yeah, I think that does it for us. And you can find out all the info on this podcast at overlyanimated.com. You can join us on Discord to text chat about animation at overlyanimated.com/Discord. You can support us via Patreon at patreon.com/overlyanimated. Thanks to all our current patrons, especially our patron of the podcast, Shin, aka Shingeki no Kyojin. And thanks as always to our Patreon executive producers, Ryan, Steve, Alex, Beatriz, Hugh, and Michael. Thanks for listening, guys. We'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.